You have been lied to your entire life, and the greatest tragedy is that you don't even know it yet. Everything you thought you knew about love, about God, about success, about who you really are, has been filtered through 2000 years of systematic deception. And the saddest part, you've built your whole existence on these lies. And now, at this stage of your life, you're wondering why nothing feels quite right, why that emptiness persists no matter how much you achieve, why your relationships keep failing, why money slips through your fingers, why you feel so utterly alone even when surrounded by people. Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to share with you will shatter everything you've been told, everything you've been conditioned to believe. The Ethiopian Bible, one of the oldest and most complete biblical texts in existence, contains teachings that were deliberately removed, hidden, suppressed by those who wanted to control you, control your mind, control your spirit, control your wallet, control your very soul. And they've done a magnificent job, haven't they? Look at your life right now. Look at the fear. Look at the doubt. Look at the desperation. I'm going to be brutally honest with you today because I respect you too much to offer you comfortable lies. You're between 45 and 60 years old, perhaps watching this in the middle of the night when sleep won't come, when the silence becomes too loud, when you can't escape the nagging feeling that your best years are behind you, that you've somehow missed the point of everything. Your marriage ended or is ending. Your children are distant. Your bank account doesn't reflect the decades of work you've put in. Your body is changing in ways that terrify you. And worst of all, you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. Let me tell you something, my friend. This isn't an accident. This is by design. The teachings that were removed from the Bible, the ones preserved in the Ethiopian texts, the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, the Kebra Nagast, these contain the actual instructions Jesus gave for creating heaven on earth, for manifesting abundance, for understanding the divine masculine and feminine energies, for accessing your true power. But the church, the institutions, the systems that benefit from your weakness, they couldn't allow you to know this. Because if you knew what Jesus really taught, you wouldn't need them anymore. You wouldn't be controllable. You wouldn't be a good consumer, a good worker, a good slave to fear. Think about your daily life right now. You wake up and within seconds the weight descends. The thoughts begin their assault. What if I never find love again? What if I'm too old? What if this is all there is? What if I die alone? What if I never have enough money? What if my ex-husband finds happiness with someone younger, more attractive, more alive, while I fade into irrelevance? These thoughts aren't random, they're programmed. And the programming started with the removal of the very teachings that would set you free. I've spent my entire life studying these texts, understanding what was taken from humanity, and more importantly, why. And now I'm going to share this with you, but I need you to understand something first. This isn't going to be comfortable. Truth never is. Lies are comfortable. Lies let you sleep. Truth wakes you up, and waking up can be painful. But would you rather live in comfortable slavery or uncomfortable freedom? That's the choice you're making right now, in this moment, by continuing to listen to me. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has preserved books that Western Christianity rejected at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. Why? Because these books gave too much power to individuals. They explained that the kingdom of God is within you, not in some distant heaven you reach after death if you're obedient enough. They taught that you are divine, that you have creative power, that abundance is your birthright, that your thoughts literally create your reality. Imagine if everyone knew this. Imagine if everyone understood their own power. Who would go to church and beg for salvation? Who would work jobs they hate for money that never satisfies? Who would stay in toxic relationships because they fear being alone? You wouldn't. And that's exactly why they hid it from you. Now, let me paint you a picture, a scenario that's probably uncomfortably familiar. You're sitting at home, alone. Maybe you're divorced, maybe separated, maybe in a marriage that died years ago, but you're both too afraid or too tired to admit it. You scroll through social media and you see your ex-husband, or you imagine him with someone new. She's younger, isn't she? In your mind, she's always younger. She's carefree. She's thin. She's everything you think you're not. And he's smiling in a way he hasn't smiled with you in years, maybe decades. Your stomach drops. Your chest tightens. The thought circles like a vulture. I've been replaced. I'm not enough. I was never enough. I'll never be enough. This is your daily reality, isn't it? This fear, this comparison, this sense that life is happening to everyone else while you're stuck, frozen, watching from the sidelines as time accelerates and opportunities vanish. Here's what you need to understand, and this is where the fear really needs to grip you, because without fear, you won't take action. And without action, everything I'm about to teach you is worthless. If you don't apply what you're going to learn today, if you dismiss this as just another video, just another spiritual talk, just another thing you'll forget by tomorrow, then you are guaranteeing your worst nightmare. Your ex-husband will find happiness with someone else. He will build a life that doesn't include you. He will laugh and love and thrive while you sit in your apartment, in your house, in your empty bed, wondering what went wrong, replaying conversations from 20 years ago, trying to identify the exact moment you lost yourself. But it's worse than that. So much worse, because it's not just about him, it's about you. If you don't change right now, today, this moment, you won't just lose him to someone else. You'll lose yourself completely. You'll become that bitter woman you swore you'd never be. You'll become invisible. You'll watch as the world moves on without you. Your children will call out of obligation. Your friends will slowly drift away. You'll develop little routines to fill the emptiness, little addictions, little distractions, anything to avoid the screaming silence of a life unlived. And one day, not too far from now, you realize that you're not just alone, you're forgotten. You existed, you paid your bills, you followed the rules, and none of it mattered. You'll die having never truly lived, having never accessed even a fraction of the power that was always within you. Do you feel that? That tightness in your chest, that's not anxiety. That's truth knocking. That's your soul screaming at you to wake up before it's too late. And here's the truly terrifying part, the part that should make you physically uncomfortable right now. Every day you wait is a day you can't get back. Every day you spend in this fog of confusion and fear is a day he's potentially meeting someone new, falling in love, creating memories that have nothing to do with you. Every day you spend not understanding your true value, your divine nature, your creative power, is a day you're actively destroying your own future. Time doesn't pause for your healing. Life doesn't wait for you to figure it out. The universe is moving, energy is flowing, and you're either riding the wave or drowning in it. Right now, you're drowning. And the worst part, you don't even realize how far under you've gone. Think about this, really think about it. What if this moment right now is your last chance? What if the universe, God, existence, whatever you want to call it, has put this information in front of you as a final opportunity to change course? And what if you ignore it? What if you click away, distract yourself with something easier, something more comfortable, something that doesn't challenge the lies you've been telling yourself? Then what? Then you've made your choice. You've chosen the slow death of mediocrity over the challenging rebirth into your true power. I can see some of you already wanting to turn away. Your ego is screaming at you right now. It's saying, this is too negative, this is fear-based, this isn't spiritual. But let me tell you something about ego. Your ego is not your friend. Your ego is the collection of all the lies society has told you about who you should be. Your ego wants you comfortable, safe, small. Your ego would rather you die unfulfilled than risk the discomfort of transformation. So yes, I'm using fear because sometimes fear is the only thing that penetrates the thick armor of denial we've built around ourselves. The Ethiopian Bible contains the book of Enoch, and in it there's a teaching that was considered too dangerous for the masses. It explains that there are fallen angels, but not in the way you've been taught. These fallen angels represent fallen consciousness, the descent from divine awareness into material obsession, into fear, into separation. And humanity has been living in this fallen state for so long that we think it's normal. We think anxiety is just part of life. We think scarcity is real. We think we're separate from God, from each other, from abundance, from love. This is the fall. And Jesus came to teach the way back up. But his real teachings, the practical ones, the ones that actually work, were removed. Why? Because they work. And if they work, you don't need the middleman. You don't need the priest, the church, the institution. You connect directly to Source, to God, to universal intelligence, whatever language resonates with you. And when you connect directly, you realize that everything you've been seeking outside yourself has always been within you. The love, the abundance, the worth, the power, all of it, always within you, waiting for you to remember. Your ex-husband or your current husband who feels like a stranger, he's not your problem. Money isn't your problem. Your age isn't your problem. Your body isn't your problem. Your problem is that you've forgotten who you are. You've identified with the fallen consciousness. You've believed the lie that you're separate, alone, powerless, unworthy. And from that belief, you've created a life that reflects it back to you. Your external reality is nothing more than a mirror of your internal state. And right now, your internal state is chaos, fear, desperation, and deep, deep unworthiness. But here's where it gets even more frightening. Because you might think, okay, I'll work on myself, I'll read some books, I'll do some affirmations, I'll meditate a little, and that's cute. That's adorable, actually. But it won't work. You know why? Because you're trying to use the same level of consciousness that created the problem to solve the problem. Einstein said this: you cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. You need a complete shift, a death and rebirth, a total dismantling of everything you think you know. And most people aren't willing to do that. Most people want a quick fix, a magic pill, 3 easy steps to transform your life. And that's exactly why most people stay stuck. They want transformation without discomfort. They want rebirth without death. They want the butterfly without the cocoon. It doesn't work that way. It has never worked that way, and it never will work that way. So right now, you have a choice. You can continue living the way you've been living, hoping things will magically change, hoping he'll come back, hoping you'll suddenly feel worthy, hoping money will appear, hoping, like a child wishing on a star. Or you can face the brutal truth that nothing changes until you change. And change doesn't mean surface adjustments. It means deep, fundamental transformation of your entire way of being in the world. Let me ask you something and be honest with yourself, because I'll know if you're lying, even if I'm not there with you. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not distracted, not numbed out, not going through the motions, but actually alive, present, connected, powerful. For most of you, it's been years, maybe decades. Maybe you can't even remember. You've been sleepwalking through your life, and now you're wondering why you feel dead inside. You are dead inside. The question is, are you willing to resurrect? The teachings in the Ethiopian Bible, particularly in the book of Enoch, talk about the Watchers, these beings who taught humanity forbidden knowledge. And the church calls this evil, forbidden, dangerous. But what was this knowledge? It was astronomy, mathematics, herbalism, the understanding of natural law, the power of consciousness, the ability to create reality through thought and intention. Why would this be forbidden? Because informed, empowered people don't make good slaves. They don't bow to authority. They don't live in fear. They don't consume mindlessly. They don't stay in toxic relationships. They don't accept poverty as God's will. Jesus was teaching this same forbidden knowledge. He said, "These things I do, you shall do also, and greater things." He said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." He said, "Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will be opened." He was teaching manifestation, the law of attraction, the power of consciousness. 2000 years before it became a New Age buzzword. But the church removed these teachings, watered them down, turned them into be good, obey, suffer now, and you'll be rewarded after death. What a brilliant control mechanism. What a perfect way to keep people powerless. And you've bought into it. Even if you're not religious, even if you haven't been to church in decades, you've bought into the underlying programming. You believe on some level that you're inherently flawed, that you need to be saved, that you're not enough, that suffering is noble, that poverty is spiritual, that desire is sinful, that your body is shameful, that you need permission from some external authority to live fully. This is the poison that's been passed down through generations, and it's in your blood, in your bones, in your unconscious mind, running your life from behind the scenes. Now, I want you to imagine something, and this is going to hurt, but stay with me. Imagine it's 5 years from now. You didn't apply anything from this teaching. You continued on your current path. Where are you? Be specific. Where do you live? Who's with you? What does your bank account look like? What does your body feel like? What does your daily routine consist of? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Really see it, feel it, because this is your trajectory. This is where you're headed if nothing changes. Your ex-husband is remarried. She's not even younger or more attractive. That's the kicker. She's just more alive. She hasn't given up on herself. She takes care of her body, not obsessively, but lovingly. She has interests, passions, energy. She laughs easily. She doesn't carry the weight of decades of resentment and disappointment. And he looks at her the way he used to look at you before you both forgot who you were, before life ground you down into exhausted, bitter strangers sharing a space. And you're heavier now, not just physically, although that too, heavier in spirit. The light in your eyes has dimmed even more. You've developed health problems, nothing catastrophic, just the slow deterioration that comes from years of stress, poor sleep, emotional eating, and the general sense that there's no point in taking care of yourself because who's looking anyway? Your children call on holidays. Your friends, the few who remain, talk about their grandchildren, their trips, their lives, and you smile and nod and feel like you're watching a movie of other people's lives, a movie you're not in. You've tried a few things. You joined a dating app, but the men your age want women 20 years younger, and the men who want you feel desperate, damaged, like they're settling, and you can't stand the mirror they hold up to your own desperation. You've tried to make more money, but the economy, your age, your lack of recent experience, your own deep belief that you don't deserve it, all conspire against you. You've tried therapy, but after months of talking about your childhood, your marriage, your regrets, nothing has fundamentally changed. You understand why you are the way you are, but you're still the same way. This is your future if you don't radically change course right now. Not might be, will be, because the trajectory you're on doesn't magically alter itself. It takes conscious, deliberate, sustained effort to change direction. And most people don't have that in them. Most people are too comfortable in their suffering. They've made friends with their misery. It's familiar. It's known. Change is terrifying because you don't know who you'll be on the other side. But here's what you need to understand. You're dying anyway. The person you are right now is dying slowly every single day. Every day, a little more light goes out. Every day, you become a little more numb. Every day, you resign yourself a little more to this being all there is. So you're already experiencing death. The question is, will you also experience rebirth, or will you just slowly fade until there's nothing left but a body going through the motions, waiting for the final exit? I'm not being cruel. I'm being honest. And honesty is the most loving thing I can offer you right now. Your friends will tell you you're fine. You just need time. Everything happens for a reason. You're beautiful just as you are. And while that might feel good in the moment, it's not helping you. It's keeping you stuck. It's enabling your victim story. And yes, you have a victim story. We all do. But the question is, are you going to live from that story for the rest of your life? Or are you going to write a new one? The Ethiopian Bible in the book of Enoch describes 7 heavens, 7 levels of consciousness. Most of humanity lives in the first or second heaven, which is really hell, the hell of unconsciousness, of reactivity, of being a puppet to circumstances, emotions, other people's opinions. Jesus taught the way to ascend through these levels, to reach the 7th heaven, which is unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, the state where you realize you are not separate from God. You are an expression of God, and therefore you have creative power. You have access to infinite intelligence, infinite abundance, infinite love. But to ascend, you must first descend. You must go into your own underworld, face your shadows, your demons, your lies, your shame, your rage, your grief. You must die to who you've been. And this is where most people stop. They get to the edge of their own darkness and they turn back. They distract themselves. They numb out. They find someone or something to blame. They stay stuck in the first heaven, wondering why God has abandoned them, not realizing they've abandoned themselves. Your ex-husband didn't leave you. You left yourself years before he physically left. You stopped honoring your body. You stopped pursuing your passions. You stopped growing. You stopped being interested, alive. You became a function, a role, a wife, a mother, an employee, but not a woman, not a full, vibrant, sexual, creative, powerful human being. And he felt it. He felt your absence even when you were physically present. And eventually he left to find aliveness somewhere else. Or he stayed and you both just exist in the same space like ghosts, barely touching, barely speaking, barely alive. And the tragedy is you blame him or you blame yourself. But blame is just another distraction. Blame keeps you focused on the past, on what happened, on who did what to whom. And while you're focused on the past, your present is slipping away and your future is being written by default, by unconscious patterns, by fear and limitation and unworthiness. Do you know what Jesus actually taught about forgiveness? Not the watered-down version you've heard, the real teaching. Forgiveness isn't about being nice. It's not about letting people off the hook. It's about releasing the energetic cord that binds you to the past, to the pain, to the story. It's about reclaiming your power. Because every person you haven't forgiven, including yourself, is an open energy drain. They're living rent-free in your head, in your heart, in your body. And that energy you're spending on resentment, on regret, on anger, is energy you could be using to create your new life. But you won't forgive, you won't let go, because then who would you be? If you're not the wronged wife, the victim of circumstances, the woman who gave everything and got nothing in return, then who are you? This is the terrifying question. Your identity is wrapped up in your suffering. And to let go of the suffering means to let go of the identity. It means to step into the unknown, and the unknown is terrifying. So you stay stuck, you stay in your story, you stay in your pain, and every day the gap between who you are and who you could be grows wider. Every day your ex-husband or some other man is meeting a woman who's done the work, who's faced her shadows, who's reclaimed her power, who's radiant with self-love and purpose. And she's not even trying to attract him. She's just living her life fully, and that fullness is magnetic. And you're trying so hard, doing all the right things, saying all the right words, but you're empty inside, and people feel it, men feel it, life feels it, and it doesn't respond to emptiness, it responds to fullness. This is what Jesus taught. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. The kingdom of God is not a place, it's a state of consciousness. It's the state of fullness, of wholeness, of connection to Source. When you're in that state, everything flows. Money flows, love flows, health flows, opportunities flow. Not because you're chasing them, but because you're aligned with the natural abundance of the universe. But when you're in the state of lack, of fear, of unworthiness, you block the flow. You become a closed system. And no matter how hard you try, how many affirmations you say, how many vision boards you make, nothing changes, because the fundamental frequency you're broadcasting is, I am not enough. I am separate. I am alone. I am unworthy. And the universe, which is just a mirror, reflects that back to you in every area of your life. Your bank account reflects it. Your relationships reflect it. Your body reflects it. Your circumstances reflect it. Everything is a perfect mirror of your internal state. And you keep trying to change the mirror instead of changing yourself. You keep trying to fix your external circumstances without addressing the internal consciousness that created them. Now, let's go deeper, because we're just getting started, and I need you to stay with me. I need you to feel the urgency of this moment. I need you to understand that this is not just information. This is transformation, if you allow it to be. But you have to be willing to let everything you think you know die. You have to be willing to be wrong about everything. You have to be willing to admit that the way you've been living isn't working, and it's not working because it's based on lies. The Book of Jubilees, another text preserved in the Ethiopian Bible, lays out the cosmic law of cycles, of seasons, of sowing and reaping. And here's what you need to understand. You are currently reaping what you've sown, not just in this lifetime, but energetically, vibrationally, over years and decades. Every thought you've thought, every emotion you've indulged, every belief you've held has been a seed. And now you're surrounded by the harvest of those seeds. And you don't like the harvest. You want different fruit. But you keep planting the same seeds. You wake up and immediately start thinking about what you don't have. You think about your age, your body, your loneliness, your lack of money, your ex-husband with someone else. These are seeds, seeds of lack, of fear, of separation. And then you wonder why your life doesn't change. You're planting the same garden every single day and expecting different flowers. It's insanity. Jesus taught, as you sow, so shall you reap. But he also taught something the church doesn't emphasize. He taught that you can change your harvest by changing your seeds. right now, today, this moment. You're not doomed by your past. You're not stuck with the consequences of your previous choices forever. The moment you change your consciousness, you change your trajectory. The moment you start planting different seeds, thinking different thoughts, feeling different emotions, believing different beliefs, your future begins to shift. But here's the catch, and this is important. There's a lag time. The seeds you plant today don't become flowers tomorrow. There's a gestation period, and this is where most people fail. They start making changes. They think positive thoughts for a few days. They try to feel grateful. They make an effort, and then nothing happens immediately, so they give up. They say, "See, this stuff doesn't work." And they go back to their old patterns, their old thoughts, their old beliefs. And the cycle continues. You need to understand that everything you're experiencing right now is the result of seeds planted months, years, even decades ago. And the seeds you're planting today are creating your future months, years, decades from now. So, when you plant a new seed, a thought of abundance, a feeling of worthiness, a belief in your own power, and nothing changes immediately, that doesn't mean it's not working. It means it's germinating, it's growing beneath the surface. But you have to keep watering it. You have to keep tending it. You have to have faith in the process. And this is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, not religious faith, but faith based on understanding natural law. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. He trusts the process. He knows that if he provides the right conditions, water, sunlight, nutrients, the seed will become a plant. It's law. It's not personal. It's not punishment or reward. It's just how nature works. And consciousness operates the same way. But you don't trust the process. You plant a seed of intention and then immediately start doubting. You say, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm too old? What if it's too late? And every doubt is like pouring poison on the seed. You're killing it before it has a chance to grow. This is why Jesus taught, doubt not in your heart. This is why he said, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Not might be, will be, because it's law. But you don't believe, you hope, you wish, you try, but you don't believe. And there's a world of difference between hoping and believing. Hope is weak. Hope is maybe, possibly, if I'm lucky. Belief is certainty. Belief is, it is already done. I'm just waiting for the physical manifestation to catch up with the energetic reality. And when you operate from belief, from certainty, from knowing, your entire energy changes. You stop being desperate. You stop chasing. You stop trying to force. You relax into the flow. And that's when everything shifts. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like that law of attraction stuff. And I've tried it and it doesn't work. Let me tell you why it didn't work for you. You were trying to use it to get stuff. You were trying to manifest a relationship, money, a new body, external things. And you were trying to manifest them from a state of lack. You were trying to use the law of attraction to fill the emptiness inside you. And it doesn't work that way. The law of attraction, which is really just the law of vibration, the law of resonance, responds to your state of being, not your wanting. If you're in a state of lack, you attract more lack. If you're in a state of fear, you attract more things to be afraid of. If you're in a state of unworthiness, you attract experiences that confirm your unworthiness. The universe doesn't hear your words. It doesn't hear your affirmations. It feels your vibration, and your vibration is determined by your beliefs, your emotions, your habitual state of consciousness. So before you can attract anything external, you have to change your internal state. You have to become the person who already has what you want. You have to feel the way you would feel if you already had it. You have to believe you're worthy of it. And this is the work. This is the real work, not the vision boards and the affirmations, although those can be helpful tools. The real work is the deep, often painful process of excavating and releasing all the beliefs, patterns, and traumas that keep you vibrating at the frequency of lack and fear. The Ethiopian texts, particularly the Book of Enoch, describe this as the cleansing, the purification. Before you can ascend to higher consciousness, you have to purge the lower consciousness. You have to face your demons. You have to feel the feelings you've been avoiding for decades. You have to grieve the life you didn't live, the person you didn't become, the love you didn't experience. You have to rage at the injustice, the betrayal, the disappointment. You have to feel it all, fully, without numbing, without bypassing, without spiritual platitudes. And this is where most spiritual teaching fails you. It tells you to think positive, to focus on what you want, to raise your vibration, but it doesn't give you the tools to actually process and release the dense, heavy, painful emotions that are keeping your vibration low. It's like telling someone to fly while they're carrying 100-pound weight. You can flap your arms all you want. You're not getting off the ground until you drop the weight. Your weight is your unprocessed trauma, your unfelt grief, your unexpressed rage, your unacknowledged shame. And it's heavy, it's exhausting. It's keeping you stuck in the lower levels of consciousness. And no amount of positive thinking is going to lift you out of it. You have to go through it. You have to feel it. You have to release it. And this is terrifying because you've spent your whole life trying not to feel these things. You've developed elaborate coping mechanisms, addictions, distractions, anything to avoid the pain. But the pain is the doorway. The pain is the portal. On the other side of your deepest pain is your greatest power. But you have to be willing to walk through the fire. You have to be willing to let it burn away everything that isn't true, everything that isn't you. And what's left after the burning is your essence, your true self, your divine nature. And from that place, you can create anything. From that place, you are unlimited. From that place, you are free. But most of you won't do this. Most of you will continue to avoid, to distract, to numb. And that's your choice. But understand that it's a choice. You're choosing your current reality every single day by choosing not to face what needs to be faced. And you can keep making that choice. But then don't complain about your circumstances. Don't wonder why nothing changes. Don't play victim. You're not a victim. You're a volunteer. You're volunteering for this suffering by refusing to do the work that would free you from it. Now, let's talk about relationships, because I know that's a primary concern for many of you. You want to know how to get your ex-husband back, or how to attract a new partner, or how to fix your current relationship. And I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear. You can't have a healthy relationship until you have a healthy relationship with yourself. And right now, you don't. Your relationship with yourself is abusive. You criticize yourself constantly. You compare yourself to others and always come up short. You ignore your body's needs. You betray yourself by staying in situations that don't serve you. You abandon yourself by seeking validation from others. You reject yourself by believing you're not enough. If another person treated you the way you treat yourself, you'd call it abuse. But because it's you doing it to yourself, you think it's normal. Jesus taught, love your neighbor as yourself. But everyone focuses on the neighbor part and ignores the yourself part. You can't love others in a healthy way if you don't love yourself. And you don't love yourself. You might say you do. You might do self-care routines, bubble baths, affirmations in the mirror. But that's not self-love. That's self-maintenance. Self-love is deeper. Self-love is honoring your truth even when it's uncomfortable. Self-love is setting boundaries even when people get upset. Self-love is choosing what's right for you even when it disappoints others. Self-love is staying committed to your growth even when it's painful. And you don't do any of that. You betray yourself constantly. You say yes when you mean no. You stay quiet when you should speak. You tolerate disrespect because you're afraid of being alone. You dim your light because you don't want to threaten others. You make yourself small because you've been taught that's what good women do. And then you wonder why you feel dead inside, why you attract partners who don't value you, why your relationships are unfulfilling. Here's the truth. You attract partners who treat you the way you treat yourself. If you don't respect yourself, you'll attract partners who don't respect you. If you don't value yourself, you'll attract partners who don't value you. If you abandon yourself, you'll attract partners who abandon you. Your external relationships are perfect mirrors of your internal relationship with yourself. And right now, that mirror is showing you something you don't want to see. Your ex-husband didn't leave because you weren't good enough. He left because you weren't you. You lost yourself in the relationship. You became what you thought he wanted, what society expected, what your mother modeled. You became a role instead of a person. And roles are boring. Roles are predictable. Roles are dead. He didn't fall in love with a role. He fell in love with a person, a real, alive, unpredictable, passionate, flawed, authentic person. And somewhere along the way, that person disappeared and he missed her. And eventually he left to see if he could find that aliveness somewhere else. Or maybe he didn't leave. Maybe you're still together but you're strangers. You live parallel lives under the same roof. You're polite, you're functional, but there's no passion, no intimacy, no real connection. You've both settled. You've both given up. You've both decided this is just what marriage becomes after a certain number of years, and you're both wrong. Marriage doesn't have to be death. Relationship doesn't have to be compromise and resignation, but it does require two whole people who are committed to their own growth, their own truth, their own aliveness. And right now, you're not whole. You're fragmented. You've given pieces of yourself away to so many people, to so many roles, to so many expectations that there's barely anything left. And what's left is exhausted, resentful, and deeply, deeply sad. So before you can have the relationship you want, you have to become whole again. You have to call back all the pieces of yourself you've scattered. You have to reclaim your power, your voice, your desires, your truth. You have to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. And this is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a weekend workshop. It's a commitment to yourself, a daily practice of choosing yourself, honoring yourself, loving yourself, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, even when everyone around you is uncomfortable with your transformation. Because they will be uncomfortable. When you start changing, when you start setting boundaries, when you start speaking your truth, when you start prioritizing your own needs, people are going to react. Your family will say you're being selfish. Your friends will say you've changed. Your partner will feel threatened. And this is where most people stop. They can't handle the discomfort of other people's reactions. So they shrink back. They apologize. They go back to being who they were. And the cycle continues. But if you're serious about transformation, you have to be willing to let people be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to lose relationships that were based on the false version of you, because those relationships aren't serving you anyway. They're keeping you small. They're keeping you stuck. And as long as you prioritize other people's comfort over your own truth, you will never be free. The Ethiopian Bible talks about the narrow path. Jesus said, "Narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it." Most people take the wide path, the easy path, the path of least resistance. They do what everyone else does. They believe what everyone else believes. They live how everyone else lives. And they end up where everyone else ends up, unfulfilled, unconscious, waiting to die. The narrow path is the path of individuation, of self-realization, of waking up. It's narrow because it's your path, uniquely yours. No one can walk it for you. No one can give you a map. You have to discover it yourself, moment by moment, choice by choice. And it's difficult because it requires you to go against the grain, to question everything, to stand alone when necessary, to trust yourself when everyone else thinks you're crazy. But it's the only path that leads to real life, to aliveness, to freedom, to love, to abundance, to fulfillment. Everything else is just existence, just going through the motions, just waiting for it to be over. And you've been existing for too long. It's time to start living. But living requires courage. It requires risk. It requires faith. And it requires you to let go of everything that's keeping you safe but small. Now, let's talk about money, because I know this is another major concern. You don't have enough. You're worried about your future. You're afraid of being a burden on your children. You're working hard but not getting ahead. You're stuck in a job you hate but afraid to leave because you need the security. And underneath all of it is the belief that you're not worthy of abundance, that money is hard to come by, that you have to struggle, that there's never enough. These beliefs are not yours. You inherited them. They were passed down through your family line, through your culture, through your religion. The church has done an incredible job of making people believe that poverty is spiritual, that money is evil, that if you're wealthy you can't be holy. It's brilliant, really. Keep people poor and they're easier to control. Keep people believing they'll be rewarded in heaven, and they won't demand justice on earth. But Jesus never taught that poverty is spiritual. He taught that the kingdom of heaven is within you, and the kingdom includes abundance. He manifested food, wine, money when it was needed. He didn't glorify poverty. He demonstrated that when you are connected to Source, to the infinite, everything you need flows to you effortlessly. But the church couldn't have that teaching spread because then people wouldn't need the church. So they twisted it. They made it about sacrifice, suffering, giving to the church so you could store up treasures in heaven. And you bought it. Even if you're not religious, the programming is there. You feel guilty when you have money. You feel like you don't deserve it. You sabotage yourself when things start going well. You have an upper limit, a ceiling, beyond which you won't allow yourself to rise. And every time you get close to that ceiling, you do something to bring yourself back down. You make a bad investment. You get sick. You have an emergency. Something always happens to keep you at your familiar level of struggle. This is not bad luck. This is not the universe punishing you. This is your unconscious programming playing out. Your subconscious mind is designed to keep you safe, and safe means familiar. If you grew up with scarcity, scarcity is familiar. If you grew up with struggle, struggle is familiar. And your subconscious will do everything in its power to maintain that familiarity, even if it's painful. Because familiarity equals survival to the primitive part of your brain. So, to change your financial reality, you have to reprogram your subconscious mind. You have to install new beliefs, new patterns, new expectations. And this is not done through affirmations alone. Affirmations are fine, but if your subconscious doesn't believe them, they're just noise. You have to go deeper. You have to identify the root beliefs usually formed in childhood that are running your financial life. And then you have to challenge them, question them, dismantle them, and replace them with beliefs that actually serve you. For example, maybe you have a belief that rich people are greedy, or that money corrupts, or that you have to work hard for money, or that there's never enough. Where did these beliefs come from? Your parents? Your church? Your early experiences? And are they true, or are they just stories you've been telling yourself for so long that they feel true? The book of Jubilees talks about the law of tithing, of giving 1/10 of your increase. And most people think this is about giving to the church. But the real teaching is about circulation. Energy, including money, has to flow. If you hoard it, if you grip it tightly out of fear, it stagnates. It stops flowing. But if you give, if you circulate it, if you trust that there's more where that came from, it flows back to you multiplied. But you can't give from a place of fear or obligation. You can't give because you think it will manipulate the universe into giving you more. The universe doesn't respond to manipulation. It responds to vibration. You have to give from a place of abundance, of gratitude, of joy. You give because you have more than enough, because you're overflowing, because it feels good to share. And when you give from that place, you're affirming abundance. You're telling your subconscious, we have plenty. And your subconscious creates more experiences of plenty. But if you give from a place of should, of trying to be good, of hoping to get something back, you're actually affirming lack. You're saying, I have to give this away even though I need it. and I hope it comes back because I'm not sure there's more. And your subconscious creates more experiences of lack. Everything is about your state of consciousness. Everything is about your vibration. And your vibration around money is probably fear, scarcity, unworthiness. And until you change that, no amount of hard work, no strategy, no opportunity is going to fundamentally change your financial situation. You might have temporary wins, but you'll always come back to your set point, your familiar level of struggle. So, how do you change your vibration around money? You start by getting honest about your current beliefs. Write them down, all of them, the good, the bad, the ugly. Money is hard to come by. Rich people are greedy. I'm not good with money. I always struggle. There's never enough. I don't deserve abundance. Whatever beliefs are running in the background, bring them to the surface, because you can't change what you're not aware of. Then question each belief. Is it true? Can I absolutely know it's true? Where did it come from? Is it serving me? What would be possible if I didn't believe this? And then consciously choose a new belief, not a fluffy affirmation that you don't believe. A belief that feels possible, that has some evidence in your life that you can build on. For example, instead of jumping from I'm broke and always will be to I'm a millionaire, which your subconscious will reject, you might start with I'm learning to manage money better, or I'm open to new opportunities, or I've survived every financial challenge so far, which means I'm resourceful. These feel true. These your subconscious can accept. And from there, you look for evidence of your new belief. You act in alignment with it. And gradually, your vibration shifts. And as your vibration shifts, your reality shifts. But this takes time. This takes consistency. This takes commitment. And most people aren't willing to do it. They want the quick fix. They want to win the lottery. They want someone to rescue them. And so they stay stuck, blaming the economy, their age, their lack of education, their ex-husband, anything external, never looking at the internal beliefs that are actually creating their reality. Now, let's talk about your body, because I know this is a source of pain for many of you. You look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. You're older, things have shifted, sagged, wrinkled. You don't feel attractive. You don't feel desirable. You feel invisible. And this terrifies you because you've been taught that your value as a woman is tied to your appearance, your youth, your ability to attract male attention. And this is one of the most insidious lies the patriarchy has sold you. Your value has nothing to do with your appearance. Your worth is inherent. You are valuable because you exist, because you're a unique expression of the divine, because there's never been and never will be another you. Your body is not your identity. Your body is the vehicle your soul is using to have this human experience. And yes, it's changing because that's what bodies do. They're born, they grow, they age, they die. This is natural. This is not a problem to be solved. But you've been taught that aging is a failure, that wrinkles are shameful, that weight gain is a moral failing. You've been taught to wage war against your own body, to see it as the enemy, to punish it, starve it, criticize it, hide it. and your body feels this. Your body knows you hate it, and it responds accordingly. It holds on to weight as protection. It develops illness as communication. It shuts down sexually because it doesn't feel safe. Your body is not the problem. Your relationship with your body is the problem. And until you make peace with your body, until you start treating it with love and respect and gratitude, it's going to continue to be a source of suffering. But when you shift from seeing your body as an object to be judged, to seeing it as a sacred temple, as a miracle, as the instrument through which you experience life, everything changes. The Ethiopian texts talk about the body as the temple of the Holy Spirit, not the church building, your body. And when you understand this, when you really get it, you start treating your body differently. You feed it nourishing food, not as punishment or control, but as an act of love. You move it in ways that feel good, not to burn calories or change its shape, but to celebrate its aliveness. You rest it when it's tired. You listen to its signals. You honor its wisdom. And here's what's interesting. When you stop trying to control your body, when you stop hating it and start loving it, it often naturally moves toward its optimal state. Not the state magazines tell you is optimal. Its optimal state, the weight and shape where it functions best, where it feels good, where it's healthy. But this requires trust. This requires letting go of external standards. This requires you to define beauty and health for yourself based on how you feel, not how you look. And this is radical, this is revolutionary, because the entire beauty industry, the diet industry, the anti-aging industry, they profit from your self-hatred. They need you to believe you're not enough. So you'll keep buying their products, their services, their solutions. But what if you woke up tomorrow and decided you're enough exactly as you are? What if you decided that your worth has nothing to do with your appearance? What if you decided to opt out of the whole game? The industry would collapse and you would be free. Free to age naturally, free to eat without guilt, free to move your body joyfully instead of punishingly, free to dress in ways that feel good instead of ways that hide or compensate, free to take up space, free to be seen, free to exist without apology. But this freedom terrifies you, because if your value isn't in your appearance, then where is it? You've spent your whole life investing in your appearance as your primary asset. And now that it's changing, you feel like you're losing everything. But you're not losing everything. You're losing an illusion. And on the other side of that loss is the truth of who you really are, which is so much more than a body, so much more than a face, so much more than an age. You are consciousness, you are energy, you are creativity, you are wisdom, you are love, you are power, and none of that diminishes with age. In fact, it increases. You have lived, you have experienced, you have learned, you have depth, complexity, richness that your younger self didn't have. But you can't see it because you're still measuring yourself by standards designed for 20-year-olds. What if you created new standards? What if you decided that the most attractive quality is aliveness, presence, authenticity, joy? What if you decided that wrinkles are evidence of a life fully lived, that gray hair is a crown of wisdom, that soft bodies are evidence of not being at war with yourself? What if you decided that the most magnetic thing about you is not your appearance, but your energy, your essence, your spirit? Because here's the truth: men, real men, mature men, men who have done their own work, they're not looking for a 20-year-old. They're looking for a woman who is alive, who is present, who is comfortable in her own skin, who has something to offer beyond physical beauty. They're looking for depth, intelligence, humor, warmth, passion. They're looking for a partner, not a trophy. But you won't attract that kind of man until you become that kind of woman. Until you do your work, until you heal your wounds, until you reclaim your power, until you stop looking for someone to complete you and become complete in yourself. And then, ironically, you might find that you don't even need a partner anymore. You might find that you're so fulfilled, so content, so whole on your own, that a partner is a bonus, not a necessity. And that's when you become truly attractive. Not when you're desperate, not when you're trying, not when you're performing. When you're simply being yourself, fully, unapologetically, joyfully. That's magnetic. That's irresistible. That's what people are drawn to. But you can't fake it. You can't pretend to be confident when you're insecure. You can't pretend to be whole when you're fragmented. People feel the truth beneath the performance. So you have to do the real work. You have to actually become the person you're trying to appear to be. And that's the journey. That's the path. That's what this teaching is really about. Now, I want to talk about spirituality because this is where everything comes together. You might have noticed that I've been weaving spiritual teachings throughout this entire conversation. That's because spirituality isn't separate from relationships, money, body image, success. Spirituality is the foundation. It's the context in which everything else happens. And when your spiritual foundation is weak, everything else crumbles. But what is spirituality? It's not religion. It's not following rules or believing doctrines or going to church. Spirituality is your direct connection to Source, to God, to universal intelligence, to the divine, whatever language resonates with you. It's the recognition that you are not separate from this intelligence. You are an expression of it. You are it, experiencing itself through the unique lens of your individuality. This is what Jesus taught. This is what all the mystics have taught. But it's been hidden, distorted, watered down because it's too empowering. If everyone knew they were divine, that they had direct access to God, that they didn't need an intermediary, the entire religious power structure would collapse. So they made God external, distant, judgmental. They made you a sinner in need of salvation. They made the priest, the church, the institution necessary for your connection to the divine. But the Ethiopian texts, particularly the book of Enoch, preserve the original teaching. God is not out there. God is in here, in you, as you. And when you realize this, when you experience this directly, not as a concept, but as a living reality, everything changes. You stop seeking outside yourself. You stop giving your power away. You stop living in fear because you realize you're not alone, you're not separate, you're not powerless. You are connected to infinite intelligence, infinite love, infinite abundance. And from that connection, anything is possible. But how do you experience this connection? Not through belief, not through reading books or listening to teachings, although those can point you in the right direction. You experience it through practice, through meditation, through silence, through presence, through surrendering the constant chatter of your mind and dropping into the stillness beneath it. And this is where most people struggle. They can't sit still. They can't be quiet. They can't be alone with themselves. Because when they stop distracting themselves, when they stop running, all the pain they've been avoiding rises to the surface. All the fear, the grief, the shame, the rage, it's all there waiting, and it's overwhelming. So they jump up, turn on the TV, scroll through their phone, eat something, call someone, anything to avoid the discomfort. But the discomfort is the doorway. You have to be willing to sit with it, to feel it, to let it move through you without trying to fix it or change it or understand it. Just feel it. And as you feel it, as you stay present with it, it begins to dissolve. It begins to release. And underneath it, you find the stillness, the peace, the presence that's always been there waiting for you to come home. This is meditation, not the Instagram version with candles and pretty music. The real version, which is often uncomfortable, boring, frustrating, and absolutely essential. Because it's in the stillness that you connect to your true self, to your divine nature, to Source. It's in the stillness that you receive guidance, clarity, insight. It's in the stillness that you remember who you are. But you have to practice. You have to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when nothing seems to be happening, even when your mind is a chaotic mess. You show up, you sit, you breathe, you come back to the present moment over and over and over again. And gradually, over time, the stillness deepens, the connection strengthens, the noise quiets, and you begin to experience yourself as more than your thoughts, more than your emotions, more than your circumstances. You experience yourself as consciousness itself, as the awareness in which everything arises and passes away. And from that place of awareness, you can observe your life without being consumed by it. You can watch your thoughts without believing them. You can feel your emotions without being controlled by them. You can experience circumstances without identifying with them. You become the witness, the observer, the space in which life happens. And this creates tremendous freedom, because when you're identified with your thoughts and emotions, you're a puppet, you're reactive, you're at the mercy of whatever arises. But when you're established in awareness, you have choice. You can choose which thoughts to engage with and which to let pass. You can choose which emotions to express and which to simply feel and release. You can choose how to respond to circumstances instead of automatically reacting. This is freedom. This is power. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." The truth is that you are not your story. You are not your past. You are not your circumstances. You are the eternal, infinite, divine consciousness having a temporary human experience. And when you know this, really know it, you're free. But knowing it intellectually isn't enough. You have to embody it. You have to live it. You have to practice it moment by moment, day by day, until it becomes your default state. And this is the work of a lifetime. This is not a quick fix. This is a commitment to waking up, to staying awake, to living consciously instead of unconsciously. And here's what I need you to understand. Everything I've talked about today, relationships, money, body image, success, it all flows from this foundation. When you're connected to your true self, when you're living from awareness instead of ego, everything else falls into place. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you're no longer seeking fulfillment from external circumstances. You're already fulfilled. You're already whole. You're already enough. And from that place of enoughness, you create, you attract, you experience things that reflect that internal state. But when you're disconnected, when you're living from ego, from fear, from the false self, nothing is ever enough. You could have the perfect relationship and you'd still be insecure. You could have millions of dollars and you'd still feel poor. You could have a perfect body and you'd still feel unattractive. Because the problem isn't external, it's internal. And until you address the internal, the external will never satisfy you. So the real question is, are you willing to do the internal work? Are you willing to face yourself, your shadows, your wounds, your lies? Are you willing to sit in the discomfort of transformation? Are you willing to let go of who you've been to become who you're meant to be? Are you willing to die to the false self so the true self can emerge? Because that's what's required. Death and rebirth, crucifixion and resurrection. This is the real teaching of Jesus. He didn't die for your sins. He demonstrated the path of transformation. He showed that you have to die to the ego, to the false self, to the illusion of separation, and be reborn into your true nature, your Christ nature, your divine nature. And this is not a one-time event. This is a daily practice. Every day you die to the old and are reborn into the new. But you have to be willing. You have to choose it. No one can do it for you. No teacher, no guru, no partner, no amount of money. This is your journey, and it starts now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when circumstances are better. Now, this moment, this is the only moment you have. This is the only moment that exists. And what you choose in this moment creates your next moment, and the next, and the next. So what are you choosing? Are you choosing the familiar suffering, or are you choosing the unknown freedom? Are you choosing to stay small, or are you choosing to expand into your full potential? Are you choosing to remain a victim, or are you choosing to reclaim your power? The choice is yours. It's always been yours. You've just been taught to believe you don't have a choice, that you're at the mercy of circumstances, of other people, of fate. But that's a lie. You have choice. You've always had choice. And the most powerful choice you can make is the choice to wake up, to remember who you are, to live from your truth, to create your life consciously instead of unconsciously. And I'm going to give you practical steps now, concrete tools you can use starting today to begin this transformation. Because information without application is useless. You need to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So listen carefully, and more importantly, apply what I'm about to share. Step 1, and this is foundational. You must establish a daily practice of stillness. I don't care if you call it meditation, prayer, contemplation, sitting in silence, whatever. But you must have a time each day, preferably first thing in the morning before the world intrudes, where you sit in stillness and connect to your true self. Start with 5 minutes if that's all you can manage. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. When thoughts arise, and they will, don't fight them, just notice them and return to your breath. That's it. Simple but not easy. Do this every single day without exception. Not when you feel like it, not when you have time. Every day. Because consistency is what creates transformation. Missing a day here and there might seem insignificant, but it is significant. It's the difference between building momentum and staying stuck. So commit right now. Decide that no matter what, you will sit in stillness for at least 5 minutes every morning. And as it becomes easier, extend the time. Work up to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. The longer you can sit, the deeper you can go. Step 2, you must become aware of your thoughts. Most people are completely unconscious of what they're thinking. Thoughts just run on autopilot, usually negative, usually fear-based, usually repetitive. And these unconscious thoughts are creating your reality. So, you have to become the observer of your thoughts. Throughout the day, pause and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? And just notice. Don't judge. Don't try to change it. Just notice. As you do this, you'll start to see patterns. You'll notice that you have the same thoughts over and over. I'm not enough. I'm too old. I'm alone. I'm broke. Nothing ever works out for me. These are your default programs. And once you're aware of them, you can start to change them. But you can't change what you're not aware of. So awareness is the first step. Step 3, once you're aware of your negative thought patterns, you need to actively replace them. Not with fake affirmations you don't believe, but with thoughts that are true, helpful, and empowering. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, I'm too old, you might replace it with, I have wisdom and experience that I didn't have when I was younger. If you think I'm alone, you might replace it with, I'm learning to enjoy my own company, or I'm open to meaningful connections. These feel true. These you can believe. And as you repeat them, they start to replace the old programming. This is not positive thinking. This is conscious thinking. You're choosing your thoughts instead of letting them choose you. And over time, this rewires your brain. Neuroplasticity is real. Your brain forms new neural pathways based on repeated thoughts and behaviors. So every time you choose a new thought, you're literally changing your brain, which changes your experience, which changes your life. Step 4, you must feel your feelings. I know this sounds simple, but most people don't actually feel their feelings. They think about them, they analyze them, they try to understand them, but they don't feel them. Feelings are energy in motion, emotion, and when you suppress them, avoid them, or try to think your way through them, they get stuck. They become dense, heavy, and they create physical and emotional problems. So, when a feeling arises, fear, sadness, anger, shame, whatever it is, stop what you're doing and feel it. Where is it in your body? What does it feel like? Hot, cold, tight, heavy, sharp, dull. Just feel it without trying to change it or make it go away. Breathe into it, give it space. And as you do this, it will start to move to shift, to release. It might take a few minutes, it might take longer, but stay with it. And when it passes, and it will pass, you will feel lighter, clearer, more present. This is emotional intelligence. This is how you process and release the backlog of unfelt feelings that's been weighing you down for decades. And as you clear this backlog, your vibration naturally rises. You feel better. You attract better. Your life improves. Not because you're doing anything external, but because you're clearing the internal blocks that were preventing the natural flow of good into your life. Step 5. You must take responsibility for your life. All of it. Not just the good parts. All of it. This doesn't mean you're to blame for everything that's happened to you. Some things were genuinely not your fault. But it does mean you're responsible for how you respond, for what you do next, for the meaning you make of your experiences. You're responsible for your healing, your growth, your happiness. No one else. Not your ex-husband, not your parents, not your children, not God. You. And this is empowering. Because if you're responsible, that means you have power. That means you can change things. But if you're a victim, if you're at the mercy of circumstances, then you're powerless. And most people prefer to be powerless victims because it absolves them of responsibility. They can blame, they can complain, they can wait for someone to rescue them, but they never change. So stop waiting, stop blaming, stop complaining. Take full responsibility for your life, for your choices, for your experience. And from that place of responsibility, start making different choices. Start creating the life you want instead of settling for the life you have. Step 6. You must set boundaries. This is especially important for women because we've been socialized to be accommodating, to put others first, to avoid conflict. And we end up with no boundaries. We let people treat us poorly. We say yes when we mean no. We tolerate disrespect. We give until we're empty. And then we wonder why we feel resentful and exhausted. Boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are not mean. Boundaries are loving. They're how you honor yourself and teach others how to treat you. A boundary is simply a clear statement of what's okay and what's not okay. And when someone crosses that boundary, there's a consequence, not a punishment, but a natural consequence. For example, if someone speaks to you disrespectfully and you've asked them not to, the consequence might be that you end the conversation. You don't argue, you don't defend, you just say, I'm not available for this conversation when you speak to me that way, and you walk away. This feels scary at first because you're afraid of people's reactions. You're afraid they'll get angry, reject you, leave you, and some might. But those are not your people. Your people will respect your boundaries. They might be surprised at first if you've never had boundaries before, but they'll adjust. And the ones who don't, the ones who push back, who guilt you, who try to manipulate you into backing down, those are the ones who were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. And you don't need them in your life. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love. It's saying, I matter, my needs matter, my comfort matters, and I'm not going to sacrifice myself to make others comfortable anymore. And when you start doing this, your whole life changes. You have more energy because you're not giving it all away. You have more respect because you're respecting yourself. You attract healthier relationships because you're modeling what healthy looks like. Step 7. You must take care of your body, not to look a certain way, but to feel good, to have energy, to be healthy. Your body is the vehicle for your consciousness. If the vehicle is run down, you can't go very far. So nourish it with real food, not processed junk. Move it every day in ways that feel good. Walking, dancing, yoga, swimming, whatever you enjoy. Rest it when it's tired. Hydrate it. Breathe deeply. Get sunlight. These are not optional. These are essential. And stop punishing your body. Stop the restrictive diets. Stop the brutal exercise regimens. Stop the constant criticism. Your body is doing its best to keep you alive despite years of stress, poor sleep, emotional eating, and self-hatred. It deserves your appreciation, not your contempt. So start treating it like the miracle it is. Talk to it kindly. Thank it for all it does. Listen to its signals and watch how it responds. When you love your body, it loves you back. Step 8. You must cultivate gratitude, not as a bypassing technique, not to avoid dealing with real problems, but as a practice that shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's present. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for, and they can't be the same things every day. This forces you to look for the good, to notice the blessings, to appreciate what you have instead of constantly focusing on what you don't have. And here's what happens. As you focus on what you're grateful for, you feel better. And as you feel better, your vibration rises. And as your vibration rises, you attract more things to be grateful for. It's a positive feedback loop. But you have to initiate it. You have to prime the pump. And gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to do that. Step 9. You must surround yourself with the right energy. This means being selective about who you spend time with, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to. Energy is contagious. If you're around negative, complaining, victim-minded people, you'll absorb that energy. If you're consuming news that's all doom and gloom, you'll feel anxious and hopeless. If you're reading or watching content that makes you feel bad about yourself, you'll feel bad about yourself. So curate your environment. Spend time with people who are positive, growth-oriented, supportive. Consume content that uplifts, educates, inspires you. Create a space in your home that feels peaceful, beautiful, sacred. These things matter. They affect your state of consciousness, and your state of consciousness creates your reality. Step 10. You must take action. All the awareness, all the inner work, all the spiritual practice in the world won't change your external circumstances unless you take action. You have to move. You have to do something different. If you want different results, you have to make different choices, take different actions. And this is where faith comes in, because often you won't know the whole path. You won't have all the answers. You'll have to take the first step without knowing where it will lead. And that's scary, but that's how it works. You take a step, and the next step is revealed. You take that step, and the next one appears. You can't see the whole staircase. You just have to trust that if you keep moving forward, you'll get where you need to go. So what's one action you can take today? Not tomorrow. Today, what's one thing you can do right now that moves you in the direction of the life you want? Maybe it's sending an email. Maybe it's making a phone call. Maybe it's signing up for a class. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation. Maybe it's ending a toxic relationship. Maybe it's starting that project you've been putting off. Whatever it is, do it now. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Do it scared. Do it imperfectly. Just do it. Because action creates momentum, and momentum creates results, and results create confidence, and confidence creates more action. It's a cycle, but you have to start it. And the only way to start it is to take the first step, even when you're afraid, even when you don't know what you're doing, even when you might fail. Take the step. Now, let me address something important. Some of you are listening to all of this and thinking, this is too much. I can't do all of this. I'm overwhelmed. And I understand. It is a lot. But here's the thing. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Pick one thing from this list. Just one. And commit to doing it for the next 30 days. That's it. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just pick one practice and do it consistently for 30 days. And after 30 days, pick another one, and then another. And gradually, over time, these practices become habits. They become part of who you are. They become automatic. And as they do, your life transforms. Not dramatically overnight, but gradually, steadily, undeniably. And one day, you'll look back and realize you're not the same person you were a year ago. You're stronger, clearer, more confident, more alive. And that's when you know the work is working. But you have to be patient. You have to trust the process. You have to keep going even when you don't see immediate results. Because the results are happening beneath the surface. The seeds are germinating. The foundation is being laid. And if you keep watering, keep tending, keep showing up, the harvest will come. Now, I want to talk about something that might be uncomfortable. The possibility that your ex-husband is not coming back. The possibility that the relationship is truly over. And I know this is not what you want to hear. You're probably hoping I'll give you some technique to win him back, some magic formula to make him see what he's lost and come running back to you. But I'm not going to do that, because that would be a disservice to you. Here's the truth. If he's meant to come back, he will, but not because you manipulated him or convinced him or changed yourself to be what he wants. He'll come back because you've become so authentically, powerfully yourself that he's drawn to that energy. Or he won't come back. And if he doesn't, it's because he's not your person. He's not meant to be part of your future. And as painful as that is, it's also a gift, because it frees you to find someone who is your person, someone who sees you, values you, cherishes you, someone who's a match for who you're becoming. But here's what you need to understand. You can't know which it will be. You can't control it. You can't force it. All you can do is focus on yourself, on your healing, on your growth, on becoming the highest version of yourself. And from that place, whatever is meant to happen will happen, and you'll be okay either way, because your okayness won't depend on him. It will depend on you, on your connection to yourself, to source, to your own inner strength and wisdom. This is true empowerment, not trying to control outcomes, but trusting that you can handle whatever comes, not needing a specific person or circumstance to be happy, but creating happiness from within and then sharing it with whoever shows up. This is freedom, and it's available to you. But you have to let go. You have to release your grip on how you think things should be and open yourself to how things actually are and what wants to emerge. And this is where surrender comes in. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is not being passive. Surrender is releasing your attachment to a specific outcome and trusting that something better than you can imagine is possible. It's saying, I don't know what's best for me, but the universe does, and I'm willing to be guided. It's letting go of control and allowing life to flow through you instead of constantly trying to push the river. And when you surrender, when you truly let go, magic happens. Doors open that you didn't know existed. People show up that you never would have met. Opportunities appear that you never would have imagined, because you're no longer blocking the flow with your tight grip on how things have to be. You're open, you're receptive, you're in alignment with the natural intelligence of life. But surrender requires faith. It requires trust. And if you've been hurt, betrayed, disappointed, trust is hard. You want guarantees. You want to know it's going to work out before you commit. But life doesn't work that way. You have to jump before the net appears. You have to trust before you have proof. You have to believe before you see. This is what Jesus meant by faith. Not blind belief in dogma, but trust in the process, trust in yourself, trust in the benevolence of the universe. And how do you develop this trust? By starting small, by taking small risks and seeing that you survive, by making small bets on yourself and seeing that they pay off, by asking for small signs and noticing when they appear, by building evidence that the universe is on your side, that you're supported, that you're guided. And as the evidence accumulates, your faith grows. And as your faith grows, you're able to take bigger risks, make bigger leaps, trust more deeply. This is the journey from fear to faith, from contraction to expansion, from separation to unity. And it's not a straight line. You'll have setbacks. You'll have days where you feel like you're back at square one. You'll have moments of doubt, of fear, of wanting to give up. And that's okay. That's part of the process. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going, one step at a time, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. And on the days when it feels too hard, when you want to quit, remember why you started. Remember the pain of staying stuck. Remember the vision of who you're becoming. Remember that you're not just doing this for yourself. You're doing it for everyone whose life you touch. Because as you heal, as you grow, as you transform, you give others permission to do the same. You become a light in the darkness. You become proof that change is possible. You become an inspiration. And this is your purpose, not some grand external mission. Your purpose is to become fully yourself, to express your unique gifts, to live your truth, to love fully, to create freely, to experience joy. And in doing so, you elevate the consciousness of the planet, because we're all connected. When one person wakes up, it makes it easier for others to wake up. When one person heals, it contributes to the collective healing. You're not just changing your life, you're changing the world. But it starts with you. It starts with your willingness to look at yourself honestly, to face your shadows, to do the work. It starts with your commitment to growth, to healing, to transformation. It starts with your decision to stop being a victim and start being a creator. And that decision is made moment by moment, choice by choice, day by day. So here we are at the end of this journey we've taken together today. And I want to ask you, what are you going to do with what you've learned? Are you going to close this video and go back to your old patterns, your old thoughts, your old life? Or are you going to take what I've shared and apply it? Are you going to make a different choice? Are you going to take a step in a new direction? Because here's the thing, information is not transformation. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. You can know everything I've taught you today and still be stuck if you don't do anything with it. So the question is, will you do something? Will you take action? Will you commit? I'm asking you to make a commitment right now, not to me, to yourself. Commit to one practice, just one, for the next 30 days. Write it down, tell someone about it, make it real, and then do it every single day, no matter what, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when you don't see results. Do it, because that's how you build trust with yourself. That's how you prove to yourself that you're serious. That's how you create change. And as you do this, as you show up for yourself day after day, something shifts. You start to feel different. You start to see yourself differently. You start to believe that maybe, just maybe, you can do this. Maybe you can change. Maybe you can heal. Maybe you can create the life you want. And that belief, that tiny seed of possibility, that's all you need, because from that seed, everything grows. So plant the seed, water it, tend it, protect it, and watch what happens. Watch as your life begins to transform. Watch as opportunities appear. Watch as relationships shift. Watch as your confidence grows. Watch as you become the woman you've always known you could be but were too afraid to become. And remember, you're not alone in this. Yes, it's your journey. Yes, you have to walk it yourself. But you're supported by the universe, by Source, by the divine intelligence that created you and lives within you. You're guided, you're loved, you're held. Even when you can't feel it, even when you can't see it, it's there. Trust it, lean into it, let it carry you when you're too tired to carry yourself. This is the teaching of the Ethiopian Bible, the teaching that was hidden from you, that you are divine, that you are powerful, that you are loved, that the kingdom of heaven is within you, that you have everything you need to create the life you desire, that you are not separate from God. You are an expression of God. And when you live from this truth, when you embody this knowing, your life becomes a reflection of heaven on earth. This is what Jesus taught. This is what he demonstrated. This is what he invited all of us to experience. Not after death, now, in this life, in this body, in this moment. Heaven is not a place you go. Heaven is a state of consciousness you cultivate, and it's available to you right now. Not when you're perfect, not when you've healed all your wounds, not when you've figured everything out. Now, just as you are, broken, scared, confused, tired, you're still worthy, you're still divine, you're still powerful. So step into that power, claim it, own it, live it, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. This is my invitation to you. This is my challenge to you. This is my gift to you. The knowledge that you are so much more than you've been told, so much more than you've believed, so much more than you've allowed yourself to be. And now it's up to you. Will you accept this gift? Will you rise to this challenge? Will you step into your power? The choice is yours. It's always been yours. And whatever you choose, I honor you, I respect you, I love you. Because you are a divine being, having a human experience, doing the best you can with what you know. And now you know more. So now you can do more. Now you can be more. Now you can live more fully, more authentically, more powerfully than ever before. Go now. Take what you've learned, apply it, live it, embody it, and create the life you were always meant to live. The life that's waiting for you. The life that's calling you. The life that's your birthright. You are worthy of it. You are capable of it. You are ready for it. Even if you don't feel ready, even if you're scared, you're ready because you're here, because you listened, because something in you knows that this is your time, this is your moment, this is your opportunity to change everything. Don't waste it. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let doubt hold you back. Don't let the opinions of others dim your light. Shine. Shine as brightly as you can. Shine so brightly that you light the way for others. Shine so brightly that you can't help but attract all the love, abundance, joy, and success that's meant for you. This is who you are. This is what you're here for. This is your purpose, not some external mission, but to be fully, unapologetically, radiantly yourself. And in being yourself, you give others permission to be themselves. And together, we create a world where everyone is free to shine, to love, to create, to live fully. This is the vision. This is the possibility. This is what's available when we remember who we are and live from that truth. So remember who you are. Remember your power. Remember your divinity. Remember your worth. And live from that place. Always, in every moment, in every choice, in every breath. You are loved, you are supported, you are guided. You are never alone, and you are capable of creating miracles in your life. Starting right now, starting today, starting with the next choice you make. Make it a good one. Make it a conscious one. Make it a choice that honors you, that serves your highest good, that moves you toward the life you desire. And then make another choice like that, and another, and another, until your whole life is a series of conscious, empowered, aligned choices that create the reality you've always dreamed of. This is possible. This is real. This is available to you.